Hello again, YouTube. It is Tuesday, November 29th, 2011, and this, once again, is Fighting Fire with Fire, the AJ Rose Show. What we want to talk about today is, with 12 weeks in the books, the NFL season is now in the playoff hunt. And I have a lot of things to talk about with various different NFL teams, starting with the team that is most likely going to be crowned Vince Lombardi champions for the second year in a row, the Green Bay Packers. They're 11-0 after they trounced the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. I actually thought that the game could have been a lot closer, but thanks to Ndamukong Suh's stupid, idiotic penalty where he slammed a Packers offensive lineman's player, his helmet, into the ground multiple times and then kicked him as he was getting up. The Packers were able to go up 14-0, and then the game was over pretty much. I thought that the Lions held the Green Bay in check better than most people have for the first half of the game, and I figured that if the Lions were going to win the game, they would have to just formulate some form of offense. But Matthew Stafford, who's been kind of inconsistent, throwing a lot of picks this year, he couldn't quite do it. Various teams in the NFL, more specifically the Texans and the Bears, are having quarterback issues. The Texans lost Matt Schaub a couple weeks ago, and just on Sunday they won. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 20-13, but they lost backup QB Matt Leinart, and so they really don't have a viable option at quarterback. I think the third stringer is this guy named TJ Yates, who's never played a game in his life, and the names that they were throwing out there as potential candidates for a replacement for the Texans were brutal. They were like Jeff Garcia, who hasn't done anything in years. Remember, he came in and led the Eagles to the playoffs a couple years ago when Donovan McNabb got hurt. But they are, I think, are screwed. Luckily, they're 8-3 already, and they have a couple winnable games on their schedule left. They have, I believe, the Carolina Panthers and the Indianapolis Colts left on their schedule, so they could get to 10 wins and be in the playoffs with a third-string cornerback. The Bears, without Jay Cutler, have Caleb Haney, and they lost to the Raiders. I think that it's going to be much more difficult for them to get a wild card spot because obviously they're not going to win the division because the Packers are in that division. But I think that it's probably best for them because I don't think they would have a chance against any playoff team with Caleb Haney as their quarterback anyway. As for my New England Patriots, they won their third game in a row, and now they're 8-3. They fully put the final nail in the coffin of this Dream Team Philadelphia Eagles season. Vince Young may have had 400 passing yards, but he really wasn't very efficient, and the Patriots offense looked like it was absolutely in a groove. It was a well-oiled machine. Tom Brady looked like he was in full FU Tom Brady mode. It was, as a Patriots fan, it was a great sight to see. And now both the Patriots, Ravens, and Steelers are 8-3, along with the Texans, but we're not counting them. Those three teams are probably the top three contenders in the AFC and contenders for the number one seed. I think the Patriots, because they have the easiest schedule left, they have games against, I believe, the Redskins, Broncos, Colts, Dolphins, and Bills. Those are all winnable games. I think they'll end up at 13-3 or worse, 12-4, and have the number one seed in the AFC. Now, that isn't saying much because the Patriots had the number one seed in the AFC last year and then subsequently lost to the Jets in their first home playoff game in a massive upset. So we'll see. Speaking of the Jets, they kept their playoff hopes alive because they beat the Bills 28-24. This game included one of the funniest moments of the NFL season, and a little bit risque. When Stevie Johnson scored a touchdown, he's a Bills wide receiver. He scored a touchdown to put the Bills up 14-7. He did a touchdown celebration dance where he pretended to be Plexico Burress and pretended to shoot himself in the leg and fall down. I thought it was really funny, but then again, I'm a Patriots fan, so I'm a little biased about that. But, of course, the Bills ended up losing their fourth game in a row, and now they're 5-6 and definitely out of the wild card race. The last thing I'm going to say about the NFL through these 12 weeks is that I think that because of all these quarterback injuries, I think the free agent period and the period where you can make trades and waivers and stuff like that should be extended because right now it's at week 6. And if it was extended through week 12 or something, then the Bears and Texans might be able to get a viable backup and be able to keep their hopes alive to contend for playoff spots and maybe even win games in the playoffs. But unfortunately, because that's not the case, they can't, and now their teams are pretty much screwed. But I really look forward to the next couple weeks in the NFL. The playoff race should be great, especially in the NFC. Not that it matters, because the Packers are just going to win the Super Bowl, but whatever. So for Fighting Fire with Fire, my name's AJ Rose. It's great to be back, guys, and I'll see you next time.